Hi, folks. I was just in a time when I speak to God, one of those times, and yes, something happened. I had a bit of clarity on something, which is interesting. So, what was the clarity? 1 second. Bobs, leave your foot alone, nutter. Yeah. Having loads of options for people to go to when there's issues in your life, compared to having no one. A lot of people think that having no one is a curse. It's actually the opposite. When you have tons of options of people to go to or places to go to when you have issues in your life, you are far less likely to choose God. When you have no one and nothing, what else can you do? You can only choose God. When I was in Inverness in Scotland, in homeless accommodation, and Father told me that I've been struggling with depression since childhood. Depression came fully in. Because once you accept you have depression, then depression has the right to now come fully in. And during that time, I was very close at walking away from God. It was that bad. I saw no benefit of having any faith in God in the situation I was in because it was just darkness. But having nothing and no one else to go to, where could I go? There was no other choice. And just now, what I understood was David, King David. He, as a young man, was pushed aside from the family because he was blamed for the death of his mother, apparently, according to the TV program, anyway. But we know he was out tending the sheep, and generally speaking, that was more of a servant's position than a son's position, but yeah. He was counted as the other son. So he spent most of his time out there with nobody to go to other than God. And when the crap hit the fan, he went to God. He learned to go to God. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery. So in an area that he didn't know, didn't have anyone that he could go to, the only person he could go to was God. And so God used him mightily. Same with David. God used David mightily because while most people were looking to the king, David was looking to God. And so, yeah, people have often thought that my life has been cursed in some way, having been rejected by mother at conception and then continued to be put into care, and then you gain relationships with people there, then you lose them because you move to somewhere else or they get moved if they're a member of staff. And so you constantly have those connections and then being ripped away all the time, which is, as a kid, that's horrendous. But, okay. And then in adult life, having the same sort of thing, But it meant that when it came to choosing, I had only one to choose. There was only one option available to me. Once I'd been called, that was it. That was it. really, because my situation was, it was me and God. It was always me and God. And so, it's far more of a curse if you're in a church with tons of people. Now, if you were David's family or Joseph's family, surrounded by brothers and sisters, and you had people to go to, David didn't, Joseph didn't. So they went to God. The brothers and sisters did not. The brothers and sisters did not have that sort of relationship with God because they had a relationship with other people. When they were being made and developed and matured, they had all these other people they went to. They didn't go to God. And so, being alone helps you to focus on the things that matter. Again, if I'm in a church or if I'm in any sort of other area, I can focus on the specks in other people's eyes. If I'm on my own, I can only focus on the specks in mine. And therefore those specks get dealt with. If there's a plank, it gets dealt with. Because I can only focus on that. I can't focus on the specks in other people's. There's no reason for me to ever try to be a good little Christian. For who? There's only me. Trying to be a good little Christian is a curse. You're doing it to trying to impress people that you are a good little Christian. Rather than you being, it's about image rather than about actual being. So therefore, it's a blessing not being in a situation that I could be tempted to do that. And so, I suppose part of the reason why I've been even a tad more emotional recently is because I'm starting to understand that. I'm starting to understand how incredibly blessed I am. Because for years I saw it. That, my life was a hard deal. And it was horrible, and that I would choose to have what other people had. I wouldn't choose it now. I wouldn't choose what other people have, no. I see these people who think it's so good they've got all these friends, but you haven't got God. And you probably never will. It's all about what you choose. It is. It's all about what you choose. It's all about that point of, you put no other gods before God. So anything you put before God is a god. There's been no opportunity for me to do that at all. Ever. Ever. In my life, it's always been God. That's why I understand it's quite possible I will not be married in the future. It's quite possible that I will not be married in the future. Because, I know in any relationship, my relationship with God is going to come first. The only way I can be married if I'm with someone who thinks the same way, who has that same situation with God. If I marry someone who's really, really, wanting me to pay them a lot of attention and to make it all about them, then that is not going to happen. Because it's not who I am. I've been made in this way, and yeah, through being alone, it means that my relationship with God is there. It means I am learning to walk as a son. If I've been in a different life where I had loads of people around me, there is a 99.99999% chance that I wouldn't be where I am now. That I wouldn't have chosen the paths that I've chosen in my life. And so, yeah, all these people that have all these friends and think they're doing so well, oh dear me. Yeah. I wish them well, and yeah. It's an interesting situation. Because, again, people choose their lives, they choose their paths. And I think all the way along, people have had options to choose the same sort of paths that I've chosen. But they haven't, because they had the other options available. But they were never forced to choose another option. For me, if I look closely, I will probably see other options available. Yeah. If I look back fully, I will see that there were other options available at those times. Well, if I nearly come to the point of losing my relationship with God, then obviously there was another option available. Yeah, which I nearly chose. So it's not a case where, people with a lot of people around them, they never have the option. They do. Oh, they do. But it's about, well, we'll go into that another time. You take care. God bless. Be a blessing, be blessed, and I will speak to you soon. Enjoy the week ahead. Bye-bye.